All right, guys, we are doing our live here. We're just about to start our Q&A. So we're gonna take questions here from YouTube and Instagram. So if you guys want to fire a question could be of a technical nature. It could be weight cut, tournament preparation, rule set, strategy, mindset. Give me the tough questions, guys. The harder, the better. How's everyone holding up? All right, let's do this. All right, we got a question here from Raymond. Favorite escape when someone has your back? Very good question. Joey, can you get Max for me, please, or someone? All right, let me show you guys. Very important thing about defending the back is winning what I call the head fight. It's probably the most important thing. You got to win the head fight. So as soon as I get a volunteer here, I will show you guys how to defend the back. Sorry, buddy. I need you for like 15, 20 minutes here, okay? All right, we're about to go, guys. Max will be on my back. So first thing here. When someone's attacking my back, right, seatbelt, I already know what he's looking for. Generally speaking, he wants to put me on this side, so that means that this is my escape side. Doesn't mean he can't finish me here. Doesn't mean I can't escape it. For the most part, it gives me a sense of direction. You see how his head is always on the opposite side of his arm. So if his arm's over here, that means his head's going to be on that side. It would make no sense for Max to keep his head on the same side of his arm, which doesn't make sense mechanically. It doesn't make sense tactically or technically, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put myself on the ground here. The first thing, very important thing about defending the back is that people only focus on this and the rest of your body is idle. It's not doing anything. Back is about jiu-jitsu is about coordination in general, right? So when I hand fight, which is important, right? I got to get that 2-on-1 to buy myself time, but I got to be pushing off my legs the whole time. The more weight I put on my opponent, right? So the more I shift my weight to his chest, from my shoulder blades to his chest, the harder it's going to be for him to not only attack my neck, but the easier it's going to be for me to defend. So instead of keeping your butt on the ground or just falling to your side like everyone does, do hand fight, but use your legs. Look at the difference between here where my opponent is very comfortable and when I do this right here. He doesn't like that one bit. And I'm constantly pushing and I smother him with my weight and I begin to win what I call a head fight. So if I go down a little bit more, Max, so they can see. All right. And I'll dig as I push. And I push on an angle. I push on a 45 towards you guys. Not laterally, not straight back. Always on a 45. Because Max would like to have me on that side. So I have to open this leg nice and wide and push hard so I go in the opposite direction where he would want me to go. And I dig the back of my head on his face. If he's very tight, sometimes I'll let go. I'll push a little bit. And I'll make sure that I get him to look away. So remember that funny position I was telling you guys that you don't want to do when you're attacking the back? See, Max is his head and arm on the same side. It's very important. Also, notice his hook is coming off. It's very easy for me to defend it. Now I can start fighting the other hook. Once I free my hips, it doesn't matter if he has a head fight. I keep bridging, right? I keep bridging, pushing off my feet until I can turn into it. It's difficult for him to keep the back. Of course, I'm heavier than Max, so that actually gives me an advantage. But Max will tell you, it's not fun down there, right? Weight does help. Not going to lie. But just keeping your feet active as you're defending the neck is huge. So long story short, like my belly button's pointing up to the sky the whole time. I don't fall on my side. The problem is you guys get to here and you want to defend the neck. That's exactly what he wants. So I should be pushing off my feet the whole time, like in a bridging position, right? Driving my shoulder blades into his chest to keep him flat on his back, stuck, right? And that right there is that's my favorite back escape. I mean, it's a direction, right? There's many different ways of actually escaping the back with that concept. But once you understand that right there, there's a lot of different ways you can actually really get out of the back. But that's a basic, simple one. If it's a lot of information, guys, try to stick to winning the head fight. If you win the head fight and you could get his arm and head on the seatbelt on the same side, that's half the equation. Like everything else is kind of going to fall into place if you can remember just that for me, okay? All right, this one's from Matt Wynn. You briefly showed a shell guard. would this be a suitable substitute for spider guard and no-gi? Yes, if they're engaging. The difference between what I call a shell guard, I'm going to show you guys really quick. So Max is on his knees, and he's trying to press forward and get heavy. I keep my shins, my feet on his hips, my shins, and I stay right here. And I lock my elbow. So he can try to get as heavy as he wants there. Try to get heavy there. I can drive forward. There's nothing there. It's not going to beat my leg. So I turn my body into a shell, right? So what I can do is I can attack omoplatas from there, triangles, a lot of sweeps. I can start working on some arm drags. But here's the thing. Here's the big difference. If I'm playing a spider guard and I have his gi, and Max wants to disengage and back out, I have something to hold on to. It's not necessarily easy. So I can play a push-pull game. I can pull myself in, but I can also push myself away if I need to, right? So the shell guard is a little more defensive in that sense, that it's really good when he's trying to press forward, but it's not very efficient if he wants to back out. So because there's no-gi, guards in general, a few exceptions, it's hard to keep Max in if he really wants to disengage because I have nothing to pull with, right? In no-gi, there's a lot more blocking, right? There's a lot more distance controlling than there is pulling. There's not so much of that because I have less handles, right? No matter how strong my grip is, this right here is never going to be as strong as that right there. It's easier to control and more efficient. So that's like probably the biggest difference in the gi is that you get a lot more pulling. You get a lot more traction from training in the gi, okay? But yeah, I would call it a substitute in some ways, but it's more dependent on how he's passing than it is on me, really. Same with the butterfly, by the way. If they want to disengage from a butterfly, it's not necessarily easy to stay in it, okay? All right, this one's from Nick Lacey. Doing all right, Professor. How are you? I'm hanging in there. Nothing, it's tough times, but we're hanging in there. All right, what's the best solution for deep half guard? We actually did this yesterday. I'll show it again, okay? But we got we get the same questions. The questions you get in Q&As are almost like they're very similar, right? Rarely do we get, there's the same themes, right? Same places people get stuck in. So I'll show you guys the basics here. So if I'm in a deep half guard, right? So you notice how Max got that butterfly hook right there? That's to keep me off balance. It's hard for me to sit heavy. So the first thing I do is I bring my knee up a little bit and I pull my knee to my chest. Not a lot, just as much as you can, and I peel. If I want to maintain that position, I'm going to keep my pocket grip and push his knee with a stiff arm. So if Max tries to regain that butterfly hook, he's going to have a hard time. I just keep pushing his feet. I just keep stiff arming his leg, and he can't get that bite. And if he opens too much, this is the other thing. If he opens too much, I'll pull my leg out. He's got to be careful I don't pull my leg. And I got long legs. You get someone with shorter legs, it's going to be a lot easier, all right? The next thing I do is I'm going to take that pillow away from him because I want to switch sides. So as I stiff arm, I open that knee. I'm going to frame his face with my forearm and pull myself into the other side. Notice that I'm still on my shin. I don't have to put my butt on the ground yet. I'd rather be here in control. I like to switch grips to free this hand. I can still stiff arm if I have to, just with the other hand. And with this one, I underhook. I go in front of his armpit. So if his arm is here, I'm not going to go around it. I'm going to go in front of it. All right, I lock my elbow on the ground, and now it's very easy for me to pass by kicking with the opposite leg. Not the only way you can defend a deep half guard, but simple, effective. It's probably my go-to, really. Like if I had to choose one, that'd probably it, because it works with consistency. It's very difficult for him to stop. All right, Lisa, how do you get better at actually getting your pocket grips? It seems like I spend more time than necessary establishing a grip. That's a good question, actually. I have the same problem. Like, it's a matter of precision. It's very difficult to train. Like, you get better. The stronger your hands are, right, the better you get. A lot has to do with, like, weaker hands. Stronger hands, you're going to get better at it. Like Felipe, for example, he's grappling. You're moving, you're passing. He goes like that. He just locks. Perfect grip. Like, none of that. Look at me. Like, I'm going to try to grip it. It's going to go. You can't. It's hard. Max has to stop for a second, and I'll go. It took like 2 seconds, right? Like some people got, like with Felipe, sometimes I'm moving my arms, and he goes, boom, and it's a perfect grip right away. It's very unusual. Like some people have that sort of precision. I've thought of ways of maybe working that sort of precision and grip strength. I've never done this, but I thought of like tying. You ever see those gi sleeves that have a hook on it, and you can tie it to weight so you can do pull-ups and like just using the gi? You can tie one of those to a kettlebell. I thought about throwing it up and catching the gi on the way down. So you can throw it up and catch the gi on the way down, right? Because if you don't catch it, the kettlebell is going to fall. So the idea is you're getting that kettlebell swing, but you're using the gi instead of the handle. So your hand precision of grabbing the gi is going to be, that's the real challenge more than the weight. You probably have to start with a lighter weight on that one. I've never tried it, but I've been thinking if I wanted to work that sort of precision of gripping, I think that'd be a good exercise, because it's not just a matter of strength, it's also precision, right? You have a window there and you don't want to miss that grip. Okay. All right. Next question, team. Sometimes there's a question way up there, like on Instagram, and it gets buried. So if I didn't answer one of your questions on Instagram, you can repeat it. There we go. Do you give online classes? If not, would you consider doing match breakdown and last advice depending on body type? Yes, I've never done that. Actually, I'm the first person to bring that up, but I'd be interested in doing that. So if you guys want to do some online classes, like some online instruction, I'm going to break down your fights and help you, like, on a one-on-one basis, you can DM me, just message me privately or email me, and then we can discuss, me watching your matches and breaking them down. Okay, so that's definitely a possibility. All right, so YouTube is weird. Like sometimes you get 2 questions at once. No, that was one. Never mind. Night Bob. Not sure if this has been asked before, but what is your weightlifting routine? Right now, nothing. Right now, I'd be like fork lifting. That's about it, right? It's very difficult for me to get motivated at home. Like every now and then I have like one dumbbell, 2 dumbbells I borrow from a friend, and sometimes like I'll play around with them a little bit, like maybe 30 minutes. But it's hard for me to get motivated at home. Like for some reason, it's just I need the energy of the gym, the music, all the weights, everything, all the equipment I like. But like maybe 3 times a week, what I've been doing is I do a routine where I'll do bicep curls with the dumbbell, and then I'll do press, and then I'll do tricep, and I'll do some pull-ups, like for my traps, just like this. And then I'll do some lunges and box jumps. And then some jumping push-ups, like I'll jump, like just body weight exercise. I use the dumbbells as best I can. I'll go to the playhouse with my daughters too and do pull-ups there. I do only like 3 times a week for like 30 minutes. It's not the same as an actual workout, but at least it keeps me in reasonable shape. But I mean, a routine for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's got to be specific. I think a lot of coaches, they come from different backgrounds, like football, they go straight out of college or some course they did online. And the problem with that is they have this cookie cutter approach to conditioning. A good example of this, you find someone that it comes from swimming, they're always going to put you in a pool. You get someone that comes from running, they're always going to, lean towards running. You could get someone from powerlifting, they're going to make you lift heavy. And it's none of it is very specific to fighting. So my advice is when you do find a coach and you do put up a program for yourself, is that you try to make it as specific as possible to what you do. There's not a lot out there. Like normally when I see conditioning coaches, they're normally doing the, things that are very specific to a certain sport. I would like an approach that is a little more geared towards what we do. I'll give you an example. MMA is high intensity, 5-minute go, like it's 100%, minute break 100%, right? You need that lactic acid tolerance. Like if you're not getting that in the gym, which is not always easy to do when you're very good, if you're better than everyone else in the gym, it's hard to get that physical push. So you got to do that in the gym, like at least once a week. So you mimic that kind of exhaustion that you're going to feel inside a cage, right? Because in the gym, you can always buy time, you're with your friends, and if you're better than them, you're never pushed to your limit, right? So you got to figure out ways of tricking yourself to push yourself to your limit, right? Well, I never knew that could happen to a professional athlete. Can you show some? I'm not a professional athlete. I'm retired.
Happens to me.
Yeah, what? The state
Happens to me.
With
I can't get motivated.
Yeah, he's 25. He's professional. It's hard to get motivated at home, man. Like even if I had all the weight equipment,
homes for home things, gyms.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I do my best, but it's I like being around people. I'm a people person in that regard, at least, and I like to be around people. That they give me the energy. If they're training and working out with me, it's a lot better. Can you show some subs from standing or takedown that lead directly to a submission threat? Some subs from stand or takedown that lead directly to submission threat. I could think of some. So, we can do, a while ago, I showed this, I did the wrist lock already. I'll show you guys a different wrist lock. You guys ever see this right here? Where I go, see, I trap his hand inside the sleeve, and then I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to just sit on it. So it gets hard. I'm on my knees now, so I can't do it. But the idea is for me to just sit on my drop to a knee with his hand trapped on the lapel, right? That's a quick wrist lock. There's one that I always like. I always advise this one for people who pull guard. If you're gonna pull guard, it's an easy way to pull guard, right? I used to do this a lot in judo tournaments. I've only competed like 4, but this is what I would do because I couldn't stand with them. So I do this right here. So whatever side I have my hand on the collar, right? That's the side I'm gonna step. So if I have my right hand, I'm gonna put my right foot on his hip, and it's a fake tomoe-nage into an armbar. So if I get it, you know, it's an arm, but if I don't get it, they can't call me on guard pulling because it was an attempt in a tomoe-nage. So I'd step, sit, right? And if I throw him, great. If not, I always like go for the armbar. So what I do with my left leg, I swing it wide, and I keep his head down by pulling his tricep and his sleeve. Okay, and I step over. Notice that I do this the whole time by keeping my foot on his hip, so he can't really stack me. And I keep some range, and I step over his head, and I finish that armbar. But I like that one because, you know, like it's if you're gonna pull a guard, you might as well attempt an armbar, right? One reason why people they fall prey to this is because they're holding onto that collar, and some people don't know what to let go. They're so married to that grip on the collar they don't realize they're putting themselves in an armbar by the time I sit. Most important thing is that you cut an angle when you sit. That angle cut is the most important part. Like, so you sit, step over the head, shoot your hips up in the air, okay? Push off your shoulder blade, right? That's one idea. There's many, like submissions from standing, like a lot of wrist locks, and then there's the guillotines. You know, you can set up some Imanari rolls, set up some leg locks from standing. It's a big category, Matt. Caden here. Just wanted to say hello. I missed the gym. Thanks for doing these Q&A sessions. Good to see you, to hear from you, Caden. We miss you too. All right, we'll be back very soon. It looks like we're going to be, you know, back to normal in a week or so. I mean, I think some states are already going back to normal, so we're optimistic that we're going to be next, you know, and we're going to be, you know, trained again like normal. All right. Someone's asking about the documentary. And yes, we should be releasing this summer. We're very close. We've never been so close. We've never worked so hard on it. We just got some final adjustments to the final cut. We're adding music and then subtitles, right? Because we're probably going to have in like 4 or 5 different languages. So it should be done before the end of the summer is really what we're aiming for. So it's coming, guys. We've never been so close. All right. Questions, guys? Questions? The other thing too, guys, I might have to leave a little bit earlier today, okay? I'm just giving you guys a heads up. All right, someone here, I got an old opponent from Brazil, long time ago. He was a purple belt, brown belt, and I beat him. I'll have to check you out later, bro. I'm sure, you know, I'd remember, man. I got a pretty good memory for this stuff, but hey, good to hear from you, bro. How much do you focus on movement drills? Me personally, not a lot. I've never liked movement drills. I like live. Live has always been my favorite. I get more out of it. But I do see the benefits, especially if you're like, for example, if you're injured and you want to control train a little bit more, because when you're going live, there's no control, so the injury ratio is a little bit higher. Well, let's say you got a bad knee. It's not ideal to focus on some movement drills, right? So you can, you know, at least you get that, your body moving, you break a sweat, you can even work some technique, almost like a flow round. That's what I would do. And that's what I would call drilling, right? Like something that makes it real. I don't like the idle drilling where there's no interaction from my partner. Like that kind of drilling to me is a waste of time. He's just laying there and I'm shuffling my feet around him. I don't see the benefit in that. And like that leg drag where he's just laying down and I'm moving his leg across left to right. I have never seen anyone pass anyone's guard like that. So personally, I don't see the benefit. I like drilling. To me, it has to be live. The movement drills that you're talking about, same thing. They have to mimic reality as close as possible, okay, while you're in control. All right. Some Jedi Fede. Hello, Fede. How you doing? I increased flexibility in my shoulders. Thank you. Man, if you got bad shoulders, I wouldn't mess with it too much, you know, like because if you don't have any shoulder problems, you can always stretch a lot. But like the joint is one of those things you don't want to be messing around too much. You want to feel that stretching pain, but nothing beyond that. If you got bad shoulders, I wouldn't mess with it at all. I'm no doctor. You might run to really ask the doctor, but my opinion is try to stay away from pushing that threshold. Like, you know, sometimes you got a bad shoulder, you keep doing that right there, think it's going to make it better. It doesn't. you're just messing with the inflammation, right? You can move it around to bring the blood, but don't push that threshold till you're in pain. That's what you want to really avoid, okay? All right. Given the strength, the length, big time away from training, do you suspect there will be a decline in competition, both in participation and skill? Skill, not for now, unless people really stop training. I think skill-wise, I'm not too worried about it. Numbers, possibly. I think the numbers will be lower for the first month or two. Let's say we get back to normal in July, right? Let's say we have tournaments in August. I think that every tournament from August all the way to December is going to be slower than normal, less competitions, less professional events. I think it's going to take, at the very, very least 6 months for people to feel like, oh, I'm not scared anymore. I'm not. Guys, you can't stop living. That's my take on it. But I think it's going to be a few months before, people feel comfortable enough, just being around other people and in crowds and, gyms and especially tournaments are about crowds. There are crowds of people everywhere. So tournaments, I think they're not particularly necessary for the economy. Like gyms are part of the economy, right? We're hurt when gyms don't open. So I think gyms will open way before tournaments are allowed. I can see professional events like the UFC having events with no crowds, just kind of empty like they've been doing. I think that could be a reality. But like tournaments like NAGA, IBJJF, I think that might be a while before those go back to normal. That's my guess. Hope I'm wrong. All right, let me see. All right, team. Okay, you guys want to, someone's asking for a footlock here. Let me give you guys a cool footlock. Come here, Max. This is an easy one from 50-50. Okay, you guys may or may not have seen this before. I think I came up, I've never seen anyone do it, and I don't remember anyone teaching it to me. So I'm not sure if I got it from someone or if I really came up with it myself and I can't remember, all right? But it's probably my favorite footlock from 50-50. But what I do is always create a pocket grip here at the end of his pants. So if I'm in 50-50, I always like to tuck this foot. I don't like to keep that foot out there. Because I don't think that crossing your ankle is the best defense anyway. And this allows me the option of standing up if I want to, right? But I create a pocket grip here. And a lot of times I'll loosen up my legs so Max can pull his leg out. Sometimes he's trying to pull his leg out. So that works in my favor. But a lot of times if he's not, I'll push myself out until I lose the knee. So I'm trying to get this guy to think that he's going to get out. So I'll purposely lose the knee. Max, a very common thing, he'll try to pull the leg out. The thing is he can't really pull the leg out because I have the pocket grip. I want him pulling his leg out just enough for me to trap the end of his foot at the end of my forearm. You guys see that? So it's a toe hold with my forearm. I'm trying to let go so you guys can see. And I'm pressing my leg against the back of his Achilles as I press my forearm forward. Here's the catch, though. I got to bite my knees together. I have to pinch. So I lock his leg in place and I push with the elbow. It's a very fast toe hold. I could do it from here too. Like if my leg is out here, this is fine. If you have like a normal 50-50 with both my legs pointed at him, it's going to work as well. I prefer the other position. But the forearm here, the trick is to lock it on right just below my hip flexor on my forearm, not the elbow. I'm not pushing him with the elbow. Look at what I'm pushing, the middle of my forearm. Because some people do that right there and it hurts the foot but doesn't finish him. I want to get the forearm. Look at that. See where I'm at? And see that bend? Look at my right knee. My right knee is just as important as that lean in with my body. So I'm doing that right there to his foot. And the best part is that he can't pull his foot out. And if he did, right, let's say he panics and pulls a leg out, I should be able to follow straight into a leg drag because I have that cross grip on the pants. So even if you don't go for the toe hold, then it's a very good way of setting up your pass. Here's the catch. That probably counts as a toe hold. I actually don't know for sure because the referees don't know for sure. I'm not sure what the rule says. Sometimes the rules are a little bit behind the competitors, right? Competitors always figure out ways around the rules before the rules catches up to them. I'm not sure that would count as a straight footlock. My guess is most referees will look at it as a toe hold, so I would not do it in competition, okay? Unless you're brown or black, obviously, just in case. All right, guys, one more question. Well, and I definitely will be back. My question is, working out in a standard gym every day affect BJJ training? I think that if you want to be good at BJJ, you got to train a lot of BJJ. There's nothing better. If you want to get good at boxing, you got to box every day. Is running and lifting weights going to help your boxing or your BJJ or whatever? It probably helped like marginally, but significantly gym time, mat time. There's nothing like just spending a lot of time on the mats. The only time that to me, being more inside a gym is warranted is when you already spend a lot of time in the gym. And then if you're a professional athlete, working on other aspects of your conditioning and like to that, the maximum potential of those, whether it's cardio or power, speed, that could be beneficial because it's hard to work the extremes of your physical ability in the gym because you're working everything. There's a lot of focus on technique. And when you get really good too, what happens is you're not pushed physically as hard because your technique allows you to take break. So it's difficult to mimic that intensity environment inside the gym. So when you're to that level, to me, going to the gym like about twice a week makes sense, or running or sprinting or things like that. But, if you're a beginner, depending on your level, I wouldn't bother with that. I wouldn't bother with running, swimming, lifting weights. Like up to really like brown belt, I would put as much mat time in as possible. I wouldn't be worrying about strength conditioning. There is one benefit of lifting weights. You can do this twice a week, strengthening your joints. If you got strong joints, that can be very beneficial to your career in jiu-jitsu. Not so much for performance, but if your elbows are strong, your shoulders are strong, you're less likely to get injured. So I'd recommend weightlifting mainly for that, less for performance, even though it will increase your performance a little bit, but nothing as much as mat time. It's the secret to jiu-jitsu is not really a secret, guys. It's just a lot of time in the gym. There's no way out of it. Just can't be in a rush. Things don't happen when you want them to happen. They happen slowly. It's like one little bit at a time. Okay, guys, I do have to leave a little bit earlier today. Okay, I apologize. So we're going to be doing this again tomorrow, Q&A. Try to start 5 sharp. Okay, guys, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Think of questions that you guys want to think, write them down. Any problem you're having, right, guys? Like anything jiu-jitsu related, I'm happy to answer those questions because we, this is, I've probably